Political correctness is a huge impediment to critical thinking because now the truth is being subsumed by, well, I don't want to upset this person or I don't want to upset that person. Well, that's for them to decide whether they're going to be upset or not. Don't stop seeking the truth because of something like that. I think that's the can of worms that we've opened long ago, and why we keep operating in. I like to use the metaphor of an eddy current, where it's like a funnel, like a water going down a drain. We're just doing a lot of activity, and we're going down the drain. We're not going anywhere. And political correctness is another major contributor or way to not think critically. We have to have the courage, and you brought it up earlier about fear. We have to have the courage to stand up and ask the tough questions.
The first and most important sort of political correctness, or for me anyway, the most dangerous type, here's how an American pundit defined it. And again, I think this is just one sort of political correctness, but he said, political correctness refers to the resistance from descriptions of reality because of the way they may be perceived by groups to whom our elites have decided to be hypersensitive. So the idea is that certain well-placed elites in society take particular subjects off the table. They limit what is seen to be acceptable in polite company, or what is acceptable to talk about in polite company. And the topics that get taken off the table are ones that involve a hypersensitivity to the feelings of certain groups in society. Not all groups. You can say pretty much anything you like about Christians or paint anything you like about Christ, but different rules apply to, say, Islam. So what is acceptable there is much more constrained. So with this first sort of political correctness, you're almost talking about a group right not to be offended, but it's only for a favored few groups. So the problem with political correctness in my first form is it limits, to some extent, what you can say, at least about certain favored groups. They don't have to have as thick a skin as the rest of us. And in fact, political correctness leads people to censor themselves to some extent. And it gnaws away at free speech. So I've said this plenty of times, but I'll say it again. The only kind of free speech that I think matters is the kind that protects offensive speech. If you have a protection of free speech that amounts to protecting speech that we all want to hear, the kind of speech that you can just imagine us all sitting around in circles, we're holding hands, Oliver's playing the guitar, and we're all singing Kumbaya, that's worthless. Protecting that kind of speech is worthless because we all agree. The only kind of protections for free speech that matters are kinds that people don't want to hear, that offend people. So it's precisely that sort of free speech, I think, that this first strand of political correctness gnaws away at. And it's important that you recognize that. I think that's the most important strand. Lots of people say things that we don't agree with that are awful, but you just have to suck it up sometimes. You don't have to go and read John Stuart Mill to realize that there's a lot. The best justification for free speech is if you believe that in the competition of ideas, you move forward. And that means you have to hear things you don't agree with and you find offensive.